Now it's that time of year, the video that everyone's been waiting for since NHL 26 dropped. It's NHL 26 Imperialism, last team standing wins. We are all well aware of the rules for NHL Imperialism, so let's immediately dive into this. Now, NHL Imperialism has become a yearly classic. This is a video that we do at the start of every NHL game. The Colorado Avalanche are going to be our first team on the attack. Let's go see who they're going to take on. But as we know, it's not always quite that easy. They might be claiming some free states to start off, and it looks like they're going to be heading west. And you know what? Directly west might have been the best direction because the Colorado Avalanche are going to be taking on the Utah Mammoth, a rebrand of the Utah Hockey Club, which relocated from Arizona. Over the past 3 years, a lot has happened with this team. However, they've added JJ Peterka over the offseason. I think they've made some great strides in the right direction. We can't sleep on Utah anymore. Or at least I hope they're making strides in the right direction and they're not going to turn out like the Buffalo Sabres. So I am 100% ready for NHL Imperialism. I got the St. Louis Blues jersey on. I have the St. Louis Blues hat on. I can't wait until St. Louis loses to Chicago in their very first matchup because NHL 26 is going to hate St. Louis as much as NHL 25 did. But Barrett Hayton's going to start the goal and scoring off in the first period. Moving into the second, Arturi Lehkonen is going to be responding, but Utah's going to be taking a 2-goal lead entering the third period. Let's see if Colorado's going to be able to make the late comeback. And you know what? I'm starting to think Colorado won't be able to make this comeback. Utah has a 5-1 lead. They're not going to choke this one away. A 7-1 win for the Utah Mammoth, and they're going to be taking down the Colorado Avalanche in their first ever appearance in NHL Imperialism. Utah's off to a great start, but once they add Nathan MacKinnon to the team, they're going to be looking even better. Now, we all know how NHL Imperialism works. When you beat a team, you get to steal their best player. So Nathan MacKinnon, welcome to the Utah Mammoth. You're going to be a huge upgrade for the team. I definitely didn't expect Colorado to be losing in their very first matchup, but here we are. Now, it was a great defense from the Utah Mammoth. They're going to be taking down the Colorado Avalanche. They're stealing Nathan MacKinnon. This franchise is off to an amazing start. So Utah's going to be winning the first matchup. It was a great defense from them. It's time to move on to our next matchup, and that's going to feature the LA Kings. So LA, hopefully you can do better than Colorado did on the attack, and you're going to start off by going northeast. Now, if I was the LA Kings, I would prefer to just go north here, but that's not the case. They're going to be heading northeast instead. That's going to lead to some Vegas Golden Knights territory. So we have the LA Kings taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. So let's see if LA can do a better job on the attack than the Colorado Avalanche did. After the first period, Kevin Fiala and Trevor Moore picking up goals for LA. Tomas Hertl is going to be picking up 1 goal for the Vegas Golden Knights. Moving into the second period, it's going to be a scoreless one. So unlike that last game, this one's going to come down to the wire. And I'm starting to wonder if the addition of Mitch Marner was actually enough for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're still trailing by 1 goal, entering the final couple minutes. There's a minute left in this game. It's time to jump into it. There actually might be 2 minutes left, but that's neither here nor there. We're entering the final couple minutes, and it's still a 1-goal game. Okay, we're about to find out. Can players hit the empty net in NHL 26? Oh my god, they fixed it. Players can now hit the empty net in NHL 26. I never thought I would see the day. Adrian Kempe just hit the empty net, and he was actually contested a little bit. There was a little bit of pressure on him, and he hit the empty net. Take a picture of this. I never thought we would see the day where NHL players can hit the empty net. It's a miracle. Now, honestly, it brings a tear to my eye. But I watched Adrian Kempe hit an empty net. I never thought I would see the day. NHL players can really do that. 94 overall, Jack Eichel's going to be changing teams. He's now going to be joining the LA Kings. But that man really hit an empty net. Say what you want about NHL 26, but seeing NHL players hit the empty net, no, it's something special. It really is. But you know what? We can't focus on that empty netter forever. We have to move on. And it looks like the next team we're moving on to is going to be the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Columbus, there's a handful of different teams around you, so let's figure out which direction you're going to be heading, and it's going to be directly east. Now, if we're talking directly east from the Columbus Blue Jackets logo, we're talking about this free state right here. They're actually not taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I thought they were going to be guaranteed to get into a matchup here, but apparently not. So after that surprise, let's go ahead and spin the arrow once again, and this time they're going to be heading southeast. And similar to that last spin for the Columbus Blue Jackets, it's going to be another free state. Like, it was only a matter of time before we saw some teams start claiming a bunch of free states. This time though, Columbus isn't going to be avoiding Pittsburgh. They're heading right into their territory. So we don't have to spend too much time messing around here. It's Columbus versus Pittsburgh. Even if you go down a bit of an angle right here, it's still Columbus versus Pittsburgh. Now, I would hate to see Sidney Crosby Crosby losing his first Imperialism matchup here. But you know what? It is possible. The Columbus Blue Jackets aren't looking too bad, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, unfortunately, they're heading in the wrong direction. Jet Greaves versus Sheloff. Boy, do we have a matchup right here. Two great goaltenders going at it. It's a tie game entering the third. I'm on the Jet Greaves bandwagon. That man better carry the way. And unfortunately, right after I was on the Jet Greaves bandwagon, he's allowing a shorthanded goal. Zach Werenski would respond, but McGroarty's going to be responding just minutes later. Pittsburgh has a 1-goal lead. Greaves can't go out like this. Like, I'm sorry, but Jet Greaves can't lose in his first matchup. We're down to the final minute. Columbus, you better do something, because Jet Greaves can't go out like this. So we're down to the final 30 seconds, and right now Pittsburgh's putting on all the pressure. Zach Werenski's got the puck. He's trying to break it out. Kent Johnson's got it, and now he's moving up the ice. Columbus has pulled the goaltender. They don't have too much time to respond. Brian Russ is going to be picking off the deke, and it might be over. If we can see another empty netter successfully hit by an NHL player, I'm going to go crazy here, because there's no way NHL players can hit back-to-back empty nets. Brian Russ is a little bit contested. He can't get the shot off. Columbus is going the other way. 10 seconds left. Zach Werenski up to Kent Johnson, but he's absolutely exhausted. Back to Charlie Coyle. Coyle's going to lose the puck. Can they get one last shot off? 2 seconds left in this game, and it doesn't look like a shot's going to get towards the net. Sheloff's going to be closing this one out, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to have a successful defense, taking down the Columbus Blue Jackets. That was a tough loss for Columbus, but you know what? It was a great defense from Pittsburgh, and they're going to be gaining some territory as well as a new player. Now, there's a lot of things that Pittsburgh could use here. Like, they could use Kirill Marchenko. They could use Zach Werenski. Truthfully, they could even use an upgrade in between the pipes. However, they can't get a superstar goaltender, but they can get a superstar defenseman. Zach Werenski, welcome to the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're going to be one of the top players on this team. The only player that's going to be higher overall than you is Sidney Crosby. So Zach Werenski, welcome to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Pittsburgh, welcome to all of this land. So we're off to a pretty good start so far in NHL Imperialism. We've had a handful of close games. We're finally going to see a Canadian team in the mix, and that's going to be the Calgary Flames. Now, there's a handful of teams around Calgary, so they're almost guaranteed to get into a matchup immediately, and that's what's going to happen here. I guess the real question is, do they take on the Edmonton Oilers or do they take on the Vancouver Canucks? I think they were northwest enough to the point where they were in Vancouver Canucks territory, and they weren't really north enough to be taking on the Edmonton Oilers. So we're going to have Calgary taking on Vancouver, meaning we get to see Thatcher Demko. Now, these are moments where Thatcher Demko takes over. Thatcher Demko wants to continue the trend of being that guy. He needs to be the greatest goaltender of all time again in NHL 26. Is that going to be continuing? Well, I guess we're about to find out. Goals are going to be exchanged in the first period. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. Can Thatcher Demko steal this game? We're about to find out. Like, I don't know what it was about Thatcher Demko in NHL 25, but he was just a different beast. Sharon Govich is going to be picking up a power play goal. Maybe Demko just isn't that guy anymore. We're entering the final couple minutes. Calgary still has a 1-goal lead, and they might be able to close this one out. A minute left in the game. We got to see if Vancouver can make this late comeback. Now, Calgary is putting on a lot of pressure, but look at Thatcher Demko. Bro is standing on his head right now until that goal from Nazem Kadri. A backhander from the middle of the slot's going to end up in the back of the net. I'm sorry, but ain't no way Thatcher Demko is absolutely stoning somebody, and then he's going to allow that goal right there. Nah, I'm sick. Now, that win for Calgary means a lot more than expected, because now Quinn Hughes is going to be joining the team, the new number 1 on the Calgary Flames. That's a huge upgrade right there. So Quinn Hughes is a Calgary Flame. Thatcher Demko isn't that guy anymore. We're seeing a lot of changes early on. So it was an all-Canadian matchup, and the Calgary Flames are going to be coming out on top. This matchup might not be all-Canadian, but we could see a Canadian team. Detroit's going to be on the attack, and it is possible for them to take on Toronto. Now, the odds of them taking on Toronto aren't necessarily the highest in the world, and it's certainly not going to be happening if they're going to be heading southwest. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings, southwest is only going to be giving them a free state, so we're going to have to spin the arrow once again. So we have arrow spin number 2 for the Detroit Red Wings. Which direction are they going to be heading this time? Well, instead of southwest, they're going to be heading southeast. And southeast is definitely going to be leading into a matchup. They're going to be taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team we didn't see too long ago. They're going to be on the defense once again. Now, Pittsburgh's already won one game, and it was a great defense earlier. Can that continue? Absolutely. 4 goals in the first period, another 2 in the second. They still have a 4-goal lead. They're not choking this one away. A dominant victory from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and now they're going to be adding a new player to the team, and I think that player is likely going to be Dylan Larkin. Now, we can go with Dylan Larkin or Lucas Raymond. Neither either of these players are a bad selection, but we're going to go with Dylan Larkin just because his primary position is center, and bringing a centerman to the team I feel like makes a bit more sense for Pittsburgh. Like, give them a bit more center depth, but if they don't want to play him at center, then he can play in his secondary position, which is left wing, and that works too. Now, what can I say? I didn't expect in NHL 26 Imperialism the Pittsburgh Penguins to be one of the more dominant teams. Like, who would have expected that? Absolutely nobody. Now, who would have expected that the Pittsburgh Penguins would slowly be building a super team? Certainly not me. I thought we were going to see the Oilers getting on some action, but apparently not. We have the Winnipeg Jets instead. But I shouldn't say we're not going to see Edmonton, because it is possible Winnipeg takes them on, and after claiming Saskatchewan, it is possible. Like, if Winnipeg heads northwest once again, they're going to be taking on the Edmonton Oilers, so it is still possible. So let's go ahead and spin this arrow once again, figure out which direction they're going to be heading. They're going to be heading east this time, and that means they're going to be entering some Ottawa Senators territory. I feel like this is a matchup we see every year, but to be fair, both of these teams are side by side, Winnipeg taking on Ottawa. So it's an all-Canadian matchup between the Winnipeg Jets and Ottawa Senators. Tim Stutz is going to get the goal scoring started off in the first period. Moving into the second, so far it's been all Senators. Are the Winnipeg Jets going to score it all in this game? Like, it's 3-0 so far, and if they don't score pretty quick, I'm only going to assume that Ottawa's going to be shutting them out. But I guess Nyquist is going to be picking up a power play goal, so it's not quite going to be a shutout. But who really cares if it's a shutout or not? Is Winnipeg going to make this game competitive? It doesn't look like it. Dylan Cousins is going to pick up a critical goal, and just like that, the Ottawa Senators is going to be taking down the Winnipeg Jets, and they're going to be adding a huge upgrade to the team. Now, there's actually a couple different options we can go with here. Like, we could go with a goaltender and add Connor Hellebuyck to the team. We could go with Kyle Connor and add an elite sniper, or even Josh Morrissey. Mark Scheifele wouldn't be a bad pickup either, but I think we're actually going to go with Kyle Connor. Now, why am I passing up on the highest rated goaltender in the NHL in 94 overall Connor Hellebuyck? Well, the Ottawa Senators already have a good enough goaltender. 87 overall Linus Ullmark. I'm pretty sure he can be the guy for them in this video, and I feel like Kyle Connor would be a really big upgrade for this team. He's now the highest overall at 92. We're going with Kyle Connor for this selection. Now, Winnipeg, after claiming Saskatchewan, you had a bit of confidence. You thought you were going to run through the Ottawa Senators. That did not happen. Ottawa's going to be claiming a bunch of land because of that. Now, defending teams have been looking pretty solid recently, so let's see if that trend's going to continue. The Florida Panthers are on the attack. Now, like usual in NHL Imperialism, especially when it's really early on, there's only one team for the Florida Panthers to take on, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we have Florida versus Tampa. Now, between Tampa and Florida, who do I want to win this matchup? Well, I can tell you right now, I don't want Florida to win. This team has won back-to-back Stanley Cups. They don't need to be winning NHL Imperialism. Leave that up for somebody else. Florida currently has a 1-goal lead entering the third. They better not score on this power play. Thankfully, that's not going to be happening. No, like, I'm sorry, but we cannot see Florida win back-to-back Stanley Cups and then win NHL Imperialism. That just wouldn't be fair. It's a 1-goal game entering the final minute. Tampa, you better score quick. Now, we're entering the final 40 seconds. Ryan McDonagh's going to try a saucer pass that is going to get across. Seth Jones is going to collect it. Brad Marchand's going to be pinned along the boards by 3 players from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Darren Rash has got it at the top of the point, sending it over. They're going to get a great opportunity, but Forsling's going to collect the rebound. Now he's moving. Is he going to bury this into the empty net? Yes, he is. We have seen multiple empty netters actually hit on the first attempt. Forsling's going to bury this one, and just like that, Tampa Bay's eliminated, and Nikita Kucherov is now going to be switching teams. Florida's officially a powerhouse. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I do not want to give the Florida Panthers Nikita Kucherov. I have to, but I don't want to. This team doesn't deserve Nikita Kucherov as well. They already have enough elite talent, all on no movement clauses. They shouldn't get Nikita Kucherov as well. What can I say? It's not fair. It's not fair that Florida gets all these players, but you know what? It's just the way she goes. Now, there's not really too much we can do about Nikita Kucherov joining the Florida Panthers, but we just have to move on. The Washington Capitals is going to be the next team on the attack. This is certainly an interesting team. Like last season, they surprised everyone, being one of the best teams in the NHL. Is that going to continue this season? I have no clue. I could see the Washington Capitals being a really good team again this season, and I could also see them completely falling off into a wildcard spot. It could go either way. But in the sense of NHL Imperialism, there's only one way for this Washington Capitals team to go, and that's into Pittsburgh Penguins territory. We have Washington versus Pittsburgh. So regardless of what happens in this matchup, Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby are going to be teaming up together. The question is, which team? Now, Pittsburgh's already been involved in 2 matchups, and they're 2 for 2 so far. Can they make it 3 for 3 in this matchup right here? We're about to find out. Ovi and Pierre-Luc Dubois are going to be picking up goals in the first period. Protas is going to be doubling down in the second period, and then in the third period, Tommy Novak's going to be able to score 1 goal, and Pittsburgh's eliminated, so they're not going to be going 3 for 3. It's over just like that. What can I say? Sometimes life comes at you fast. Sidney Crosby, it looks like you're going to be joining Alexander Ovechkin on the Washington Capitals. This just doesn't look right. Sidney Crosby on the Washington Capitals, but it's not like like Alexander Ovechkin and the Pittsburgh Penguins would look any better. Now, Pittsburgh, you went on a run that I wasn't expecting. I honestly didn't expect you to win any games, but you were able to win 2. Unfortunately, you're finally going to be eliminated, and Washington's going to be gaining a ton of territory. Now, attacking teams are on a little bit of a roll right now. We'll see if that roll is going to continue. San Jose, if you want this streak to continue, you're going to have to beat a pretty solid team. I guess it depends on which direction the arrow tells us to go, though. Okay, we're immediately going into a matchup, and it's LA. Like I was going to say, the San Jose Sharks would have a chance if they headed north and entered Seattle Kraken territory. Now they're taking on the LA Kings. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be beating LA. So only one of these Pacific Division teams is going to be advancing, the San Jose Sharks or the LA Kings. After the first period, the game's going to be scoreless. Moving into the second, Cody Cece's going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Ain't no way Cody Cece's picking up the first goal. This can't be happening. Like, if Cody Cece is scoring a goal, that means that man actually hit the net on one of his shots. There's no way that happened. Back-to-back LA goals are probably going to be the difference here. Jeff Skinner is going to score one, but it doesn't really matter. Quentin Byfield's picking up an empty netter, and the LA Kings are taking down the San Jose Sharks. Now, after taking down the San Jose Sharks, there's really only one man we can bring to the team. That's going to be 88 overall Macklin Celebrini, another playmaker brought to the team right after Jack Eichel. I think we can almost make the argument the Kings have the best center depth in the league now. Like, they have Jack Eichel, they have Kopitar, and then of course they have Macklin Celebrini as their third line center. Who's stopping that? So San Jose is going to be following. LA is going to be stealing another player, and they're also going to be getting some more land. So the attacking team win streak is going to be coming to an end here. The LA Kings are going to be winning that last matchup, and now it's time to see what Nashville can do. Now there's a handful of different teams that Nashville can take on, so let's go ahead and spin this arrow, and it looks like they're going to be heading northwest. Now northwest is actually going to keep it very simple for Nashville. They're just getting a free state. Now unless Nashville is heading south, they're going to be getting into a matchup. Okay, they're heading south. So with that being said, it's another free state for Nashville. So the Predators have already claimed 2 free states. Are they going to be claiming another one here? It doesn't look like it. It's time for them to take on the Washington Capitals. Through all of the territory that Washington's claimed, Nashville's going to have to go through a little bit of it. If they had gone slightly more west, they actually would be taking on Chicago, but instead, this is Washington Capitals territory, so that's who they have to take on. So Washington, let's see if you can pick up another victory, or can Nashville upset you? After the first period, it's looking like it's all Nashville. 3 straight goals before Alexander Ovechkin's responding. However, just like that in the second period, back-to-back goals from the Washington Capitals, and we have a tie game entering the third. And just when you thought Nashville is out of it, back-to-back power play goals are going to be giving them a 2-goal lead. There's still enough time for Washington to respond, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do so, because time is just not on their side. They took a 5-minute penalty late in the third period. It looks like those 2 power play goals are going to be the difference for Nashville, and they're going to be taking down the Washington Capitals. Now, as we all know, when it comes to NHL Imperialism, we have to take a player from the original team. So Sidney Crosby, you're not originally from the Washington Capitals. Alexander Ovechkin is. So that means he's going to be joining the Nashville Predators. Like, the Nashville Predators didn't beat the Pittsburgh Penguins, so they didn't earn Sidney Crosby. They earned Alexander Ovechkin. Now, don't expect that to be the last matchup Nashville's in. Now that they own all of this land, there's a lot of different teams that can take them on. So we just got to keep on keeping on here and spin the wheel once again. Who's finally going to be on the attack? Well, none other than the St. Louis Blues. Y'all better not let me down. Like, all I need you guys to do is show up for me. Just don't fold when it matters most. They're going to start off by heading northwest, but mainly north. Now, whether it's north or northwest, it doesn't really change too much. They're just claiming a free state to start off with. So they've already claimed 1 free state. So what's this next spin going to be telling us? Well, they're going to be heading southwest. Okay, now southwest for the St. Louis Blues is actually kind of interesting, because they were like give or take like this. So that means they're actually not going to be claiming the state right underneath them, but instead this state right here. Like, there wasn't much of a gap for them to cut through there, but somehow they found that gap, and like that, they've got another free state. Like, I feel like it would have made more sense if they just got the free state completely south of them, but that's just not going to happen. With our next spin, they're going to be heading northeast, and we're finally getting into a matchup. Now, if we're going northeast from the St. Louis Blues logo, it's only a matter of time before we cut through Chicago Blackhawk territory, so we have St. Louis taking on Chicago. Please don't fold. Now, St. Louis, you can't let me down here, especially with the new logo, the new uniforms. And if you're wondering why I don't have a new jersey yet, well, 1, the pre-orders just came out, and 2, it would cost me $500 to get a jersey, because I have to get it shipped to Canada, so I have to pay the duties on that jersey. Plus, in order to get it pro stitch and just get an authentic jersey, it's going to run me $500, $600, maybe even $700 once everything's said and done. I am not paying $700 for a St. Louis Blues jersey. As much as I want one, I am not paying that much money. That is incredibly stupid. Chicago was a 2-1 lead after the first period. Ain't no way. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. We can't go out like this. Robert Thomas, I need you to take over. Jimmy Snuggerud, I need a big goal from you. And And Jordan Kyrou, I know you can show up in the big moments. I need you to show up again. With all that being said, we haven't scored yet. Why have we not scored in the third period? Are we really going to go out like this? We're going out like this. We are really going to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks, and it doesn't surprise me at all. No, like that was absolutely ridiculous. Robert Thomas, I'm sorry, but I have to send you over to Chicago. The St. Louis Blues are going to let me down NHL 26, aren't they? I can see it all happening. This team's never going to let me see success. No, like that is nothing short of heartbreaking. The Chicago Blackhawks beating my St. Louis Blues. Robert Thomas switching teams. The only thing worse than this is the fact that I have to spend $700 to get a Blues jersey. Why on earth do I have to spend $700? Also, to those who think I'm lying about it costing probably about $700, I'm not. St. Louis Blues authentic premium road jersey. Hypothetically, let's just say I want Dylan Holloway pro stitched on the back. It is going to cost $492. Once we factor in tax, that's about $550. Luckily, I've qualified for free shipping. I would hope after spending $550, I've qualified for free shipping. Then I have to pay duties to get this across the border. I think duties are like 20 to 30%. So tack on basically another $120 to $150. We have now reached $700 for a Dylan Holloway St. Louis Blues jersey. And the crazy thing is, we've reached $700, and this technically isn't even the authentic jersey. This is just the premium jersey. Like, let's just say I was crazy enough to get the authentic pro home jersey, $829 before tax. If I wanted this jersey after tax and after shipping and after duties, it would cost me $1,100. It's a hockey jersey. Why on earth would this cost me $1,100? If someone from the St. Louis Blues organization is somehow watching this video, can you please send me a jersey for free? I don't want to pay anywhere between $700 to $1,100 for a jersey. That is ridiculous. What can I say? The St. Louis Blues organization has me tight right now. Why on earth would it cost me that much for a jersey? Like seriously, anywhere between $700 to $1,100 for a jersey. When did this become normalized? The Chicago Blackhawks are on the attack next. Like, I actually can't get over how much that would cost me. Like, there is just no way for me to justify that much for a jersey. Also, Chicago's not going to be getting into a matchup here. We're going to say they have to cut through this state first before they get to Dallas Stars territory, because I refuse to believe they threaded the needle perfectly here. So yeah, they're cutting through this free state first. Like, imagine what you could do with either $700 or $1,100. Like, there is a lot of things you could do with that amount of money. Like, you could go on a full-on holiday for $1,100, or you could buy one St. Louis Blues jersey. How does that make sense? Also, I think I've done enough yapping about the St. Louis Blues jersey costing way too much. We have Chicago versus Minnesota. Now, Minnesota, you have to get back from my St. Louis Blues. Beat Chicago 8-0. I need you to take this team down. It was a scoreless first period. No way that just happened. Moving into the second, this is really not happening. Chicago's going to pull out a victory here, aren't they? Not only are they going to add Robert Thomas to the team, they're also going to add Kirill Kaprizov. It's actually going to happen. Ryan Donato is picking up a goal for the Chicago Blackhawks. They're going to take down the Minnesota Wild here. I can see it all happening. We're just going to simulate the rest of the game because we know how this is going to end. Chicago's winning 1-0. Kirill Kaprizov, welcome to the Chicago Blackhawks. I can't believe that just happened. They really beat Minnesota. No, like, I'm sick to my stomach. Chicago beats the St. Louis Blues. I rely on Minnesota to get back for us, and they get shut out. That's even worse than what we did. And the crazy thing is, this wouldn't have happened if St. Louis wasn't charging me $1,100 for a jersey. Charge me a reasonable price and I will buy one. But what are we talking about? By the way, the Anaheim Ducks are on the attack, and it looks like they're going to be heading north right into some LA Kings territory. The Kings are looking to get in on their third matchup. Anaheim's just looking for a victory. So Anaheim, are you going to pull out a victory, or is LA going to be winning their third matchup, beating all Pacific Division teams? Celebrini going to start the goal scoring off in the first period. Ryan Strom's going to be responding in the second. We have a tie game entering the third. At least it's not going to end like that last Chicago game. Mason McTavish is going to score a goal, but should we even count this goal? Because Mason McTavish still hasn't signed a contract, and why hasn't he signed with the Anaheim Ducks yet? That actually makes no sense to me. This team has $23 million in cap space. You can afford to sign Mason McTavish. I don't know what the game plan is there. We're entering the final minute. The Ducks currently have a 2-1 lead, but why is Mason McTavish actually not signed? Can somebody explain to me in the comments? It doesn't make sense to me. So the Kings have pulled the goaltender. We're down to the final 30 seconds. Jacob Trouba is going to send it up. Are we going to see another empty net goal? Okay, we're back to the misses. We're back to the empty net misses. Wow, LA almost threw it in their own net, but now they're moving up. Celebrini, what was that shot? What are we doing, Sabrini? 20 seconds left in the game, and that's the shot you're taking. I don't know if you were shooting for a rebound. I don't know what the play was. Zellweger got completely lit up. One great chance if they take a shot. It would be a great chance if you take a shot. A shot from the point's going to be stopped. The full pressure meter's maxed out. Leo Carlson up to Chris Kreider, and just like that, the game's going to be over. Unless he can bury one at the empty net. No, he can't. All right, that's a tough look for the Anaheim Ducks because they can't score an empty net goal, but they are going to be winning the game, so I guess they are winning a little bit here. So the Anaheim Ducks can be upsetting the LA Kings and eliminating them, and through eliminating them, they have 2 players to select from. Actually, they have 3 players. Kopitar, Adrian Kempe, Drew Doughty. Who do we bring to the team? I think we got to put a bit of respect on Kopitar's name. He's the guy the Ducks are bringing to the team. Kopitar's been around for a long time. He's earned the respect, and he's earned the opportunity to be selected first. Now, what can I say? Anaheim, I didn't have the highest expectations for you guys, but you're going to be surprising me here. You're going to be taking down the LA Kings and claiming the rest of California. Like, what can I say? The Ducks are one of those teams that kind of just always let you down. No matter what situation they're in, they'll find a way to let you down. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to be on the attack next. They're in a bit of a rebuild right now, but at the end of the day, all you have to do is win one game, so anyone can win. Like in a 7-game series, I'm taking a majority of the NHL over the Philadelphia Flyers, but in this 1-game matchup, anything can happen. Now, there's a handful of different teams that the Philadelphia Flyers can take on, but with this team heading northwest, there's one clear matchup, the Nashville Predators. Nashville's all the way down here, but technically this is the territory they own, so yeah, Philly's going through Nashville territory, meaning they go against Nashville. Now, this is a big game for Philly because they can upset the Nashville Predators big time here. Ovi's going to be picking up the first goal for Nashville, but Philly picked up 2 goals beforehand. Moving into the second period, it's all Philly right now. I don't think Nashville's going to make the comeback, and I think they're going to be eliminated, meaning Philly might own the most land the entire game after this, because there's a lot of land up for grabs, and unless Nashville scores pretty quick here, I'm going to assume they're eliminated, and that's going to be the case. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to be taking down the Nashville Predators. Not only are they gaining Roman Josi, but they're gaining a lot of land. So congrats to the Philadelphia Flyers. I didn't think you'd be able to pull out the victory, but that's exactly what you're doing. 92 overall, Roman Josi is going to be joining the team now. He's going to be a great upgrade. However, you guys could desperately use a goaltender here, and I actually was thinking about bringing UC Saros to the team. Like, Dan Vladar is currently the starter. Okay, hold on for a second. UC Saros actually might make a bit more sense than Roman Josi, because Philly could desperately use an upgrade in between the pipes here. I think we actually might do that. So Roman Josi, we're actually not going to be bringing you to the team. Instead, we're bringing in UC Saros, because Philly needs a goaltender desperately here. So Dan Vladar, I'm going to send you over to Nashville. Arison's going to be the backup, because we all know what Arison's about. Don't sleep on that man. That might be a bit of a controversial move, but Philly desperately needs a goaltender. UC Saros is going to be big for them. Truthfully, I don't think you go wrong with bringing UC Saros to the team or Roman Josi. They're 2 great options. Now, you know what? I think it's time for the Toronto Maple Leafs to get in on the action here. We need to see the Toronto Maple Leafs go up against somebody and then immediately lose because they're the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to be getting a Canadian team. It's not the Toronto Maple Leafs though. It's actually the Montreal Canadiens instead. So I guess we're about to figure out what's the young Montreal core looking like. They're going to be heading southeast. I believe that just gives them a free state, and that is exactly what southeast is going to be giving them. So it's time for us to move on to Aerospin number 2. Where's that going to be sending us? Directly south. But I shouldn't say directly south because it is slightly east as well. But you know what? I don't think that slightly east is really changing too much because it wasn't this far east. Nope, it was just slightly east like that. So that means we have the Montreal Canadiens taking on the New York Rangers. So we have 2 teams that are yet to be in a matchup, the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Rangers. Gavrikov and Lafreniere are going to be lighting the lamp first, but Cole Caulfield is going to be responding. Moving into the second period, Cole Caulfield is going to be scoring again, but so is Lafreniere. Euro Vakananen is going to be picking up a big goal. Who would have expected him to score in this game? Certainly not me. The Rangers currently have a 1-goal lead, but who knows if that's going to last. Well, I guess it's technically not lasting because Sam Carrick's going to pick up a goal, and now they have a 2-goal lead. The Rangers have certainly had some weird goal scorers in this one, and I'm thinking Sam Carrick's insurance goal might be enough here. The Rangers going to be taking down the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, what happened in this game? Euro Vakananen's picking up another one. Was this man the first star of the game? He very well could have been. He picked up 2 goals. It's going to be going to Lafreniere instead. 2 goals and 2 assists. Panarin had 3 points. Euro had 2 goals. No, this was a wild game. So with that loss, the Montreal Canadiens are losing one of their most important pieces, 90 overall Nick Suzuki. I've said this once and I will say it again. If Suzuki is a 90 overall, Robert Thomas should be a 90 overall. I feel like both of these guys should have the exact same overall. It also annoys me that Nick Suzuki is a playmaker, but Robert Thomas isn't a playmaker. Explain how Robert Thomas isn't a playmaker, but Nick Suzuki is. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. To me, both these guys should have the same player type and they should have the exact same overall. They basically put up the same numbers. I think the only thing Nick Suzuki has on Robert Thomas is he shoots the puck a little bit more and he's a little bit faster. But Robert Thomas is a better playmaker. So yeah, just make them both 90 overalls. What are we doing here? Now, whether or not Nick Suzuki and Robert Thomas should be the same overall doesn't really change anything. Montreal's still going to be losing here, and the Rangers are going to be taking their land. So we have 12 NHL teams left on the wheel that need to attack, and it looks like our next attacking team is going to be the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, in reality, there's basically only one team that Carolina can take on, but maybe not. This team actually might do the impossible, and they might go for the toughest matchup. Like, in reality, the Carolina Hurricanes should be taking on the Philadelphia Flyers, but this team is going to somehow work their way down to Florida Panthers territory, aren't they? Now, Carolina, I can't believe you're about to do this to yourselves. You're really going to find a way to take on the Florida Panthers. Like, what are y'all doing? Just take on the Philadelphia Flyers. It would be an easier matchup than Florida. So it all comes down to one final arrow spin. Where is Carolina going to be going? They're heading north into Philly territory. They just need to scare us a little bit. No, they need to make us a little bit worried. They're not going to be taking on Florida. They're taking on Philly instead. Now, though Philly's received an upgrade, we can't sleep on the Carolina Hurricanes. They made some big moves over the offseason, but in saying that, Philly's going to be picking up the first 2 goals of the game and the next 2 goals. Are they going to be picking up 2 more in the third period? It doesn't look like it, but Carolina's going to be eliminating their first matchup to the Philadelphia Flyers. Nobody was expecting that. Now, what can I say? Absolutely nobody was expecting that. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to be falling to the Philadelphia Flyers. Sebastian Aho's going to be switching teams. Philly might be a sleeper team. Now, I don't think anyone was expecting the Philadelphia Flyers to be taking down the Carolina Hurricanes, but here we are, Philly owning all of this land. That's certainly a surprise. Like, I think we just have to accept it. Philly's going to be a sleeper team here. They're actually going to be able to compete with some of the best. The Dallas Stars are a team that we definitely can't sleep on, and they're going to be on the attack next. So Dallas, let's figure out what direction you're going to be heading, and it looks like you're going to be heading southeast. I mean, I called it southeast, but it was basically just mainly east, and all it's going to do is give them a free state. You know what? I completely forgot about the Chicago Blackhawks. Dallas, go get the get back. Yeah, Dallas, go get my revenge. Go beat Chicago. So Dallas and Chicago are going to be going at it. We're simulating the first period, and Wyatt Johnston's going to be picking up the first goal. Moving into the second, Dallas is going to be picking up another one, but Kirill Kaprizov is going to be responding for Chicago. Now, we can't sleep on Chicago. They have Kirill Kaprizov. They have Robert Thomas now. That's going to be a pretty elite team. Well, let's see if they can make the comeback. Well, apparently they can. Teuvo Teravainen's going to be scoring immediately, and we got ourselves a tie game. No, this is not happening. Chicago is not going to beat Dallas. This is going to happen. This is really going to happen. The Chicago Blackhawks are going to go on some stupid run in this video, aren't they? We're off to overtime. I got a bit ahead of myself there. We have overtime between the Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. This is all going to come down to 1 goal. So it looks like Dallas has a chance to end it right here. No way that went in. I'm sorry, but Miro Heiskanen, that is not the winner. That is not how we're ending this. Like, yes, I want Dallas to get the get back, but this goal right here for the winner is kind of ridiculous. Like, how on earth does this end up in the net? Spencer Knight, you are literally right there. He does not deke you out at all, but somehow this weak backhander gets past your blocker. I have no clue how that even happens. Nah, you sold. Now, that was certainly a wild ending because Chicago's going to be throwing. Spencer Knight, you have to make that save. I don't know how you're not stopping it. Connor Bedard, you're going to be switching teams, and Dallas is going to get a little bit stronger. So Dallas is going to be taking down the Chicago Blackhawks. Look at all the land they're going to be earning. Dallas was a pretty solid team before this, but now that they have Connor Bedard, they just have a little bit more depth. So there's 10 teams left that need to attack on this wheel. We're going to go ahead and spin it, and the next team up is going to be the Ottawa Senators. Now, there's no free states for Ottawa to gain, so this arrow is immediately going to put us into a matchup, and it looks like they're going to be taking on Dallas. Now, hold on, just wait a minute. I thought they were going to be taking on the Dallas Stars, but that's actually not the case because they weren't this southwest. They were actually this southwest, meaning they're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Flyers, not the Dallas Stars. All right, that kind of changes things. Now, the Philadelphia Flyers cannot be slept on. Like, this is a really good team with all the upgrades that they've acquired. After the first period, it's going to be a scoreless one. Moving into the second, goals are going to be exchanged. The Ottawa Senators are picking up 2. The Philadelphia Flyers are picking up 2. So we're going to have a close finish in this one. But I guess Jamie Drysdale is ready to take over. The Philadelphia Flyers are just taking over. 3 unanswered goals is going to be the difference in this one. They're taking down the Ottawa Senators. What can I say? Philly's legit. So I guess Kyle Connor couldn't make the difference for the Ottawa Senators. Tim Stutzel, you're now going to be joining the Philadelphia Flyers. Nah, this team's on to something right now. Nah, like, this is low-key getting absurd. Look at all this land that the Philadelphia Flyers own. Out of all teams, who would have expected Philly? Now it's official. The Philadelphia Flyers are legit. We can no longer question this team. They're on a roll. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be attacking next. We all know this team's going to lose in round number 1. Like, this team's just going to find a way to disappoint everybody, and they're going to head east, and that's going to send them into some New York Ranger territory. Because with the New York Rangers beating the Montreal Canadiens earlier, they own all the land east of Toronto, so it looks like we're going to have a pretty clear matchup. Now, I would feel pretty confident simulating the entire game here, because I think we already know what the outcome's going to be. JT Miller's going to pick up the first goal. Moving into the second, okay, hold on now. Toronto showing up. The Toronto Maple Leafs are actually showing up in an NHL Imperialism video. What is going on? Granted, haven't they won an Imperialism video before? I think they actually might have. Toronto won some challenge video in NHL 25. I don't recall what challenge video it was, but they won something. And now they're going to be beating the New York Rangers in the first round. We're witnessing some crazy things right now. So the Toronto Maple Leafs might have lost Mitch Marner in free agency, but you know what? It's perfectly fine because Artemi Panarin's going to be taking his spot on the team. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be winning an important game. How often does that happen? We might be in a new NHL game. That doesn't stop me from ripping on the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's kind of a given. I feel like I shouldn't be ripping on the Toronto Maple Leafs as much as I do. Like, at this point, it's just low-hanging fruit, and even I'm getting tired of all the Toronto jokes. The Seattle Kraken are going to be on the attack next. I have a feeling this team's going to be heading north into Calgary territory. Or at least at some point, this team's going to head north into Calgary territory. They might claim a few free states before that. And it looks like that's going to be the case with spin number 1. Granted, this team really isn't that far away from Ducks territory, so they might be taking on the Ducks. But I take that back. They're heading north, and that's clearly Calgary territory. So with us knowing that, we know what our next matchup's going to be. It's Calgary versus Seattle. So we have an All-Pacific Division battle between the Seattle Kraken and Calgary Flames. They're going to be exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, they're going to be exchanging goals once again. We could potentially have another game head to overtime. But maybe not, because Brandon Montour is going to be picking up a big power play goal. Calgary doesn't have too much time to respond, and they're going to respond immediately. Blake Coleman's going to be tying this game up, and we have a tie game entering the final 8 minutes. So we have about 2 minutes left in this one. It's time for us to jump in. Who's going to be taking it home? Seattle or Calgary? Now, this is going to be a big-time draw for the Calgary Flames. They're going to be winning it. It's sent over to Zane Prek. He's throwing a weak shot net, but somehow it's going to end up in the back of the net. Nazem Kadri, an amazing deflection, is going to bury this one, and that might be the winner. Nazem Kadri's deflection is going to change this game completely. Seattle's likely going to be eliminated, and Calgary's going to be adding another player. So we're entering the final 15 seconds. Jared McCann's going to try to drop it back, but Nazem Kadri's going to intercept it. Matt Coronado, a chance to win the game. Okay, we're back to the nonsense. We're back to players missing empty nets. Why are we doing this? This is NHL 26. These are NHL players. They shouldn't be missing empty nets. Like, I could hit these empty nets. The Calgary Flames are going to be winning this matchup, but come on now. Y'all are NHL players. You can hit the empty net. Now, Calgary, just with the way things have gone, you've already added one defenseman to the team in Quinn Hughes, but now you're going to be adding another in Vince Dunn. This defensive core is looking elite. You're going to have Quinn Hughes, Rasmus Anderson, Mackenzie Weegar, Vince Dunn. That might be one of the best top fours in the league. I say that might be one of the best top fours in the league, but it very likely is the best top four in the entire league. I can't think of a top four right now that would be better than that. So we have 6 more teams that need to attack, and it looks like our next attacking team is going to be the New York Islanders. Yes, it is. It's the New York Islanders. For a second, I thought it was going to be the Oilers. Now, there's a handful of different options around the Islanders, so I can't guarantee who they're going to be taking on, but with them heading west, I think it makes it pretty simple. I guess I shouldn't say simple because there's how many different teams around them, but with the way the arrow was pointing, it's going to be the Islanders taking on the Sabres. Now, it's a battle of the bottom feeder teams. 2 poverty franchises going back and forth with each other. It's going to be a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, Josh Norris and Coolidge are picking up goals. Kyle Palmieri's picking up a goal for the Islanders, so we have a 1-goal game entering the third period. You know what? I want to take that last comment back. The Islanders aren't a poverty franchise because it really wasn't that long ago. This team made it to back-to-back conference finals appearances. Buffalo, on the other hand, yeah, there's nothing I can really say about you guys. You are a poverty franchise, like 1000% a poverty franchise. The Islanders shouldn't be in the same category as you, so I apologize to all the Islanders fans out there. We're entering the final minute, though. When you are trailing by 1, that's not a good look. So the Islanders have pulled the goaltender. That was a big time shot from Bo Horvat, but it's going to be deflected wide. Owen Power's got the puck, sending up to Alex Tuch. He has a chance to end this game as long as he can get this on target. What are we doing here? Like, what are we actually doing? Y'all need to hit these empty nets. This is getting ridiculous. So the Islanders are going to have an opportunity here. Romanov's going to throw a shot towards the net. There's a loose puck in front. Siplikov's going to get a stick on it, and he's going to bury this one in the back of the net. Ain't no way Buffalo is choking like this. This game should have been over. Alex Tuch should have ended this game. But nope, we're off to overtime because Alex Tuch couldn't bury an empty netter. I am sick. That is crazy work. Now, about 90% of this overtime was just incredibly boring, so we're just going to skip till the final 30 seconds. Now, Tage Thompson's going to try one final rush here. I don't know how he created space, but look at that big time save. Sorokin, how did you keep that out of the net? I'm not going to lie, though. I think you kind of went a little bit OD on that. I don't think you need to stretch out like that, but you're making big save after big save right now. The Buffalo Sabres aren't going to be able to end this one in overtime. The Islanders have been defending the entire time, and you know what? The game's not quite over yet. They have the full pressure meter maxed out. Tage Thompson, another chance to end it, but he can't get the shot off. One more chance for Tage Thompson, but it looks like this game's off to a shootout. The Islanders do not deserve to be in a shootout right now. Like, Sorokin made big save after big save after big save. Like, he probably made at least 8 or 9 saves in overtime. Now, I am terrified of this shootout right here based on NHL 25 shootouts. This is either going to be a 3-round shootout or a 17-round shootout, and no in between. We could be here for a hot minute. Now, remember how I said this shootout was either going to be really quick or it was going to take forever? It's taken forever, and we are in round 10. Jason Zucker, can you end it? Yes, you can. I feel like both teams here deserve to lose by forcing me to watch 10 rounds of a shootout. Like, it was so incredibly boring. Most of the time, they weren't even taking shots. They would just skate into the goaltender and lose the puck. It's ridiculous. Now, I feel like both of these teams deserve to lose, but you know what? The Buffalo Sabres won fair and square, so they're going to be picking up a player, and that player is going to be Sorokin. 91 overall, Sorokin's going to be taken over. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, you're an 84 overall. This is a 7 overall jump, so I feel like it makes sense. Alex Lyon's going to be sent over. The Buffalo Sabres deserve this upgrade. Sort of, but not really. So, Buffalo, you're going to take down the New York Islanders here. Congratulations. I certainly wasn't expecting it, but here we are. So with another team eliminated, that means it's time for us to spin the wheel once again. It's time for the New Jersey Devils to go on the attack, and I don't think we have to worry about them claiming any free states. So with that being said, let's spin the wheel and figure out who they're going to be taking on. Well, they're going to be heading directly north, and I believe that is Buffalo Sabres territory. And that is exactly what it is. We have the New Jersey Devils taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo, can you win 2 games in a row? I highly doubt it. Now, I guess we're about to find out if the Buffalo Sabres can go 2 for 2. We're going to have goals exchanged in the first period. Moving into the second, the Buffalo Sabres are going to be scoring once again. There is just no way 2 of the most dominant teams in this video are going to be the Buffalo Sabres and the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm absolutely speechless about what is going on. No, like, this is really crazy work. The Buffalo Sabres are really going to do this. They're going to beat the New Jersey Devils. They've won back-to-back matchups. Now they're going to be adding Jack Hughes to the team. No, this team is actually locked in right now. So after taking down the Islanders and taking Sorokin, they're now taking down the New Jersey Devils and adding Jack Hughes to the team. I don't think you can sleep on the Buffalo Sabres anymore. Like, they have a lot of amazing pieces here. But even with all that being said, I still didn't expect them to take down the New Jersey Devils. This team is actually not folding and not acting like a poverty franchise. That doesn't happen very often. Now, although the Buffalo Sabres have been in the last 2 matchups, we might see them again because they still haven't attacked. But that's not going to be the case in this matchup because Boston's ready to go on the attack. Now, there's a handful of free states around Boston, so we could be here for a minute, and they're going to start off by going northwest. But because of where the logo is, northwest is really just north, and they're going to be claiming this free state right here. So let's go ahead and spin the arrow once again, and this one's going to be sending us northeast, and that clearly sends us into a matchup. And we're going to have ourselves a great rivalry matchup. The Boston Bruins taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 great rivals. This is must-see hockey. So a great rivalry matchup between the Boston Bruins and Toronto Maple Leafs. Only one team can be advancing here. Austin Matthews and Panarin are picking up goals in the first, but Hampus Lindholm will be responding. In the second period, it's going to be William Nylander and Charlie McAvoy exchanging goals. So Toronto has a 1-goal lead entering the third period, but we've seen them choke leads like this before. However, this Toronto Maple Leafs team is just a little bit different. Back-to-back goals from the Maple Leafs are going to be giving them a 3-goal lead, and I don't think they're going to be choking a 3-goal lead. Make that a 4-goal lead. Toronto's going to be moving on. Boston did make a late comeback, but Toronto's going to be scoring 7 in this one, and that's more than enough. Now, you know what? I never thought I'd say these words, but I believe in the Toronto Maple Leafs. You've added Dave Pastrnak, you've added Artemi Panarin, Austin Matthews is scoring goals right now. You're winning the most important games, and all of your key players are showing up. So Toronto's going to be claiming a bit more land, and in the process, I'm also going to give them this free state. They own all the land around it. It kind of just makes sense. Now we're down to our final 3 teams, and it looks like we're going to finally see a team we haven't seen yet. Never mind. We have the Buffalo Sabres. Edmonton's really going to make it into the final and probably never play a game. Now, a Buffalo-Toronto matchup right now would feed families, and that's exactly what we're getting. Alright, that makes things simple. Like, there was a possibility that we got Buffalo taking on Philly, but that's not the case. Buffalo and Toronto, you guys are going head to head. Now, this is the matchup that we've all been waiting for, but we didn't know we needed. Buffalo taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's going to be a scoreless first period. Moving into the second, Buffalo is taking over. Why is Buffalo on some Cinderella story run right now? It makes no sense. No, this team is actually going to win NHL Imperialism. They're going to take down the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're going to add Austin Matthews to the team. The Toronto Maple Leafs just lost to the Buffalo Sabres, but I can't even rip on the Toronto Maple Leafs because Buffalo is on an absolute heater right now. In like 99% of instances, I would rip on the Toronto Maple Leafs for like a minute straight for losing to the Buffalo Sabres. But Buffalo's now won 3 matchups in a row, so how can I rip on Toronto? Now, Buffalo, y'all are on one right now. It makes no sense to me, but here we are. I'm sorry, but we have to look at the eastern part of the map right now. Buffalo, Philly, Florida. I understand how Florida is here. Buffalo and Philly, it makes no sense. So we have 2 teams left that need to attack, and it looks like the Edmonton Oilers are going to be our next team. Edmonton lost in the Stanley Cup final once again last season, but they're looking to get back, and they're going to start off by going south into some Calgary Flames territory. But Edmonton better not get too comfortable here, because Calgary's added some additions to the team, and their defense is looking elite. So it's the all-Alberta matchup, the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Calgary Flames. Leon Draisaitl is going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second, it's Connor McDavid. So Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are just going to win this game for Edmonton. I see how it is. Calgary, so far, there's really nothing you can do. McDavid scoring and Leon Draisaitl scoring. You can't stop those 2 guys. Those 2 guys literally can't be stopped unless Florida's playing. Then somehow Florida's going to stop them. When it comes to anyone else in the league, you're not stopping Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. That's just not happening. But you know what? I guess there is one thing I can't overlook about that last matchup. Stuart Skinner got a shutout. That man, Stuart Skinner, shut down the Calgary Flames. Ain't no way that just happened. Also, Rasmus Anderson's going to be joining the team for Edmonton. Now, I know it might not look like it, but you got to trust me. Edmonton doesn't own all of this land. To the east of this black line, that's Philadelphia Flyers territory. To the west, that's Edmonton. Now, there's only one team left to attack, and that's the Utah Mammoth, and they're going to start off by going south. And all South is going to be doing for the Utah Mammoth is giving them a free state. So let's go ahead and give it another spin and figure out which direction they're going to be heading this time. Now they're going north. Now, slightly northwest doesn't really change too much. It's still going to be a free state for Utah. So we got ourselves arrow spin number 3. Now where's Utah headed? They're going to be going northeast. And for the 3rd spin in a row, it's another free state for Utah. All right, I think you guys have got enough free states. I want to see the Mammoth get into a matchup. I think this is just another free state. Now, respectfully, Utah, this is getting ridiculous. Like, all I'm asking for is a matchup. You don't need any more free states. I think they got another free state. Ain't no way. Nah, like, this team is really just playing with me right now. Get into a matchup. Like, y'all don't need to be claiming every free state. How about you get into a matchup? This is another free state, isn't it? This is crazy work from Utah right now. Like, I've lost track of how many arrow spins it's been. Just get into a matchup. Finally, we're getting into one. It's Utah versus Anaheim. So I guess we're about to find out if Utah just wasted all of our time. They're entering Ducks territory, so that's who they're taking on. Now, it's been a while since we've seen the Utah Mammoth, but we do have to remember they now have Nathan MacKinnon on the team. Clayton Keller is going to be picking up the first goal, but Kopitar is going to be responding. Moving into the second period, it's all Utah right now. Don't sleep on this Utah team. I think they're going to make a deep run here. I mean, technically, they've already made a deep run, like they've entered the top 10. We might be down to the top 5 after this game. And Utah's definitely going to be entering the top 5. Barrett Hayton's picking up a big time goal. The Ducks aren't going to be responding, so the Utah Mammoth are entering the top 5 or the top 6. I actually don't know how many teams are left. The wild thing is, Nathan MacKinnon really didn't do too much in that game. Granlund's now going to be joining the Utah Mammoth. No, they got themselves a team here. Don't sleep on Utah. Like, I don't think this is really that hot of a take, but the Utah Mammoth are making the postseason this year. I can see it all happening. With another year of development, I think the team's finally going to figure it out. But with that win from Utah, we're officially down to the final 6. The Edmonton Oilers, the Utah Mammoth, the Dallas Stars, Florida Panthers, Philadelphia Flyers, and Buffalo Sabres. 2 of these teams aren't really like the rest. Now, I think the wildest part about this, either Buffalo or Philly is guaranteed to be in the top 5 no matter what happens here. And with Utah attacking, potentially both of these teams are making the top 5. I say potentially, but there's like a 99.9% chance that both of these teams are making the top 5, and that's exactly what's happening. But first, Utah has to claim another free state because that's all they do. Nah, this team is really annoying me. Stop claiming free states, just get into a matchup. It's finally happening. Whether or not you thought Utah should have been claiming that last free state or getting into a matchup against Dallas, it doesn't really matter because now it's Utah versus Dallas. No, like I really can't get over this. Buffalo and Philly are both making it into the final five. It doesn't make any sense. Matt Duchene's picking up a shorthanded goal, but I guess that shorthanded goal doesn't mean anything because Utah's going to be picking up 3 goals in the second period. Thomas Harley would be able to pick up 1, but Utah still has the lead entering the third. No, this team's a powerhouse. Don't sleep on them. And it looks like Logan Cooley's going to give them an even bigger lead. It's a big-time third period goal. We're entering the halfway point, and Dallas is yet to respond. And I think it's safe to say Dallas is going to be making the comeback, but they could score 2 quick goals, but time's just not on their side anymore. We're going to simulate the rest of this one. Nathan McKinnon's picking up a goal with 4 minutes left, and Utah's going to be taking down Dallas, and it's time for a Nathan McKinnon Mikko Rantanen reunion. The boys are back together, but now they're back together on a different team. Mikko Rantanen and Nathan McKinnon are together, but on Utah. Who would have thought? So our top 5 is officially set. Utah's going to be claiming a lot of land. This is changing things for sure. So with Dallas's elimination, there's only 4 more attacking teams left on the wheel, and it looks like Florida's going to be on the attack next. Now, once again, with this Florida matchup, we don't have to spin the arrow because we already know who they have to take on. It's Florida versus Philly. We are praying for a Philly victory right now. Now, we are all on the Philadelphia Flyers bandwagon right now. We all need to see a Philly victory. Michkov's going to get the goal scoring started off in the first period. Cam York's going to score in the second. Just shut out the Florida Panthers. We can't allow this team to win. And you know what? They might have done it. Owen Tippett's picking up a power play goal. Florida better not score on this power play. They're not going to be able to. It's a 3-0 lead for the Philadelphia Flyers. Can they pick up another power play goal? It doesn't matter. Time is not on Florida's side. We're simulating the rest of it. It's a shutout from the Philadelphia Flyers. They're taking down the Florida Panthers. Miracles do happen. Now, I am so happy to say NHL Imperialism will not be won by the Florida Panthers. The Philadelphia Flyers of all teams is taking them down. It's a glorious day, what can I say? Now, there's only one thing I can say. Bye-bye, Florida. We don't have to worry about you anymore. Now, anyone can truly win NHL Imperialism. If the Florida Panthers are going to be falling to the Philadelphia Flyers, that truly shows anyone can win. Now, low-key, I want the Edmonton Oilers to lose because we would have the wildest final 3 of all time. If Edmonton loses here, nobody would have expected these final 3 teams. Now, in order to get to the final 3, we have one more matchup, and that is going to be the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Utah Mammoth. The winner of this game is going to be advancing and adding another player. So here we go. Arguably the biggest game of the video. The Edmonton Oilers taking on the Utah Mammoth. Zach Hyman and Darnell Nurse are picking up goals for Edmonton, but Nathan McKinnon's picking up a power play goal for the Mammoth. Moving into the second, Podkolzin's going to extend the lead. Edmonton might be taking down Utah, and they might be advancing to the final 3. But Logan Cooley's not going to make it easy. He's going to be picking up a third period goal. Dylan Gunther's picking up a third period goal. This one might be off to overtime, but we might not need overtime. Nathan McKinnon, a big time third period goal. The Utah Mammoth will not go away. They have the lead entering the final minute. This team is refusing to lose. So there's 45 seconds left. Nathan McKinnon, a shot on Stuart Skinner is going to be saved. Jake Walman's going to send it over to McDavid, and it's time for him to go to work. He is going to try to skate past everyone, and right now he's actually doing that. Bro is turning on the Jets. What a save by Vejmelka. He is going to be saving the game for Utah. 33 seconds left. Nah, this team doesn't win without him. So it's a big time face off right here. The Oilers are going to be winning it. Jake Walman has a lot of pressure and he's not going to be able to get a shot off. Nathan McKinnon's going to be wasting some time. Sergachev's got it over to Sean Durzi, up to Clayton Keller. Just get it out of the defensive zone. Why are y'all keeping the puck in the defensive zone? You're going to be turning it over. Now Mikko Rantanen with a chance to end this game, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Mikko Rantanen's burying the empty netter. The Edmonton Oilers are eliminated. Connor McDavid switching teams, and we have the stupidest final 3 in NHL 26 Imperialism I have ever seen. Now this is absolutely ridiculous. Connor McDavid, welcome to the Utah Mammoth. They now have Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen. This team is absolutely loaded now. Now the final 3 is officially set. The Utah Mammoth, Philadelphia Flyers, and Buffalo Sabres. How on earth have we gotten to this point? I have no clue. But we're down to the final 3 and only one can win. Now this is a big time spin right here. Who's going to be our next attacking team? It's going to be the Philadelphia Flyers. Now who are they going to be taking on? Like it's a 50-50 chance between the Buffalo Sabres and the Utah Mammoth, and it looks like it's going to be the Utah Mammoth. So that means the Buffalo Sabres have made to the final of NHL 26 Imperialism. What is happening? But hold on, wait 1 minute. I think the Philadelphia Flyers just claimed a random free state. In the final 3, we have a team claiming a random free state. That just happened. This changes everything. Philly might not be on the attack quite yet. We're really in the final 3, and there's still free states being claimed. Okay, it doesn't change anything. They're headed back in the same direction. They're going to be taking on Utah still. I thought it was going to be some wild turn of events. No, it isn't. It's still Philly versus Utah. So here we go. Who's going to advance to the final to take on the Buffalo Sabres? Is it going to be Philly or is it going to be Utah? Well, Lawson Crouse and Clayton Keller are picking up goals in the first period. Crouse is going to be picking up a shorthanded goal in the second. It might be a shutout for Utah here, and honestly, that would actually surprise me because Philly's been playing really good. Now, it seems like the Philadelphia Flyers offense has dried up when it mattered most. We're entering the final 5 minutes. They're yet to score a goal. Connor McDavid's going to pick up a late one on UC Saros, and our final is set. It's Utah taking on the Buffalo Sabres, but Utah has to pick up one more piece. So one more player is going to be added from the Philadelphia Flyers, and we could either go with Travis Konechny or we can go with Michkov. And you know what? I think we're going to go with Michkov. I don't think you go wrong with either player. Maybe I go with Konechny. I have no clue. I feel like Michkov has performed better in this video. I feel like he's picked up some big time goals, so he's going to be the one joining Utah. So it all comes down to this one final matchup. The Utah Mammoth, who have slowly turned into a super team, taking on the Buffalo Sabres, a team who I still haven't figured out how they've gotten to this point. Now it's the final of NHL 26 Imperialism. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the Utah Mammoth. It all comes down to this right here. Clayton Keller has been showing up the entire video, and he's going to be picking up the first goal. Moving into the second, Mikko Rantanen's going to be scoring, but Alex Tuch's going to be responding. A 1-goal game entering the third period. It only makes sense this one comes down to the wire. And right after I finish that sentence, Josh Norris is going to be picking up a goal for the Buffalo Sabres. It's a tie game. We're going to be off to overtime, aren't we? So we're entering the final minute here. No one has scored a goal. It's time for us to jump into this one. We need to witness the final goal. Now we're entering the final 20 seconds. Austin Matthews is bringing the puck into the offensive zone. He's looking to end this game. And you know what? Somebody just turned on the Jets right there. That was Alex Tuch. He's collecting the puck in the corner. He's looking to end this game. It was deflected, but it couldn't get on target. We're down to the final 5 seconds. Is somebody going to be ending this one, or are we going to be off to overtime? I think we're off to overtime unless Kesselring scores that one, and he's not going to be able to. We have Utah versus Buffalo. Overtime to settle. NHL 26 Imperialism. It better be settled in overtime, though. This can't be settled in a shootout. Now here goes Nathan McKinnon turning on the Jets. He's going to try to center it, but it's not going to get across. Jack Hughes is now going the other way, and they might have a breakaway. Austin Matthews, you can't slow up there. You have to keep the pressure on. You probably would have had a breakaway. No, you're low-key selling for the Buffalo Sabres right now. Here goes Connor McDavid with a bit of speed. He has a chance to end this one. What are you doing? What kind of a shot was that in that moment? No, McDavid's selling now. Everyone is selling. Now, Jack Hughes, you have a chance to end this game, but you're absolutely exhausted. What kind of a shot is that? Vamelka's going to play it. McDavid's going to center up to Michkov. He's offside. You have to be kidding me. This man was offside. He had the game on his stick and he was offside. You cannot make this up. You can't make that up. That did not just happen. So we're entering the final 30 seconds. Both teams have had their chances, especially Michkov. He should have ended this game, but it looks like Buffalo's going to have a 2-on-1 going the other way. Josh Norris is going to send over to Owen Power. Owen Power's going to try to get it back across, but he can't get the pass. They have one last chance here, and it doesn't look like they're capitalizing. And now Logan Cooley's going the other way. He's sending it over to Dylan Gunther. He's going to throw a weak shot on net. I don't know why he took that shot, but I guess you are. And unfortunately, it looks like this game is going to be settled in a shootout. No, that kind of breaks my heart. It's NHL 26 Imperialism, and we're finally going to end this one in a shootout. No, we did not wait all of this time to go to a shootout between the Utah Mammoth and Buffalo Sabres. Now, that's just the rules here. Like, we're not re-simulating another overtime. We have to have these two teams settle in the shootout, and Austin Matthews is going to be the first shooter. Can he find the back of the net? It doesn't look like it. Vamelka has been a brick wall so far in this video, and that's going to continue into the shootout. And now Nathan McKinnon is going to be the first shooter for the Utah Mammoth. Can he bury one in the back of the net and give his team the lead? It doesn't look like it. Really, all I'm asking for here is not an 18-round shootout. I don't want to go to an 18-round shootout. Jack Hughes is going to be the next shooter. Vamelka is going to be stopping him. We're going to 18 rounds, aren't we? But you know what? I'm going to commentate every round. We're not going to skip any rounds here. We're commentating them all. I don't know how that didn't end up in the back of the net. I think he just missed the net. Hold on. We got to watch the replay on that one. Was it poked away, or did Mikko Rantanen just miss the net? I think he just missed the net. Yeah, he's just missing the net. I think it was actually deflected a little bit. I'm pretty sure it hit the toe of his pad. Let's see if that's the case. Okay, that was just a weird bounce. I don't know what happened there. Did it hit his stick? No, it just hit nothing and went wide of the net. All right then, Rasmus Dahlin's going to be our next shooter. Can he get Buffalo on the board here? He had a great opportunity, but Vejmelka's going to shut the door, and it all relies on one man, Connor McDavid. He can end this for Utah and win them NHL Imperialism, and is he going to do that? No, he isn't. Sorokin's going to shut the door. We're off to round 4. Honestly, Buffalo's just in a terrible spot right here. Like, they're the first shooting team. Utah's always going to be shooting second, so they know if they have to respond or not, and right here, they have a chance to end it. Like, if they don't score here, it's not the end of the world, but it's Clayton Keller, the man with the C. You know Keller's looking to end this one, but it's not going to be going in the back of the net. Instead, it's going to be deflected wide, and we're off to another round. So Owen Power, it all relies on you. Can you score for Buffalo and get them on the board? It doesn't look like it. You really didn't get a shot off there, did you? Well, it all relies on Sergachev now. Round number 5, and we're relying on a defenseman to end this one, and Sorokin's making a big pad save. We're off to round 6. So here we go, Alex Tuch in round number 6. You have a chance to give Buffalo the lead, but you're not going to be doing that. Vejmelka's making another big save. So for like the 15th time, Utah has a chance to end this one. Michkov, you couldn't score in overtime. Can you score here? Yes, you do. Michkov is going to be making up for his mistake. He's going to dance Sorokin out of his pads. He's going to bury this one in the back of the net. And in NHL 26 Imperialism, our first champs are going to be the Utah Mammoth. They're taking down the Buffalo Sabres in the final. How on earth did Buffalo make it to the final? I have no clue, but it doesn't matter. The Utah Mammoth are going to be our first ever Imperialism champions in NHL 26, and honestly, they earned it. They beat a ton of elite teams. They took down the Colorado Avalanche, they took down the Buffalo Sabres, they took down the Edmonton Oilers, and I can't forget about the Philadelphia Flyers, but on God, what was Bro doing there? Sorokin, what was that save attempt? Now, like, realistically, I think you cost them the game with that. You should have just made a routine save and you would have won the game, but you went for the risky poke check, and because of that, Utah's Imperialism champions.